Well, for this album, if you've been following the journey, I feel like all of the albums kind of have a progression. And even though they still all sound like us, I feel like they each have like a little bit different of an element because each of them will reflect what's going on in my life at the time, what's going on in the world, musically maybe what I'm listening to, and just to me kind of a progression and a growth. So for this album, when I started thinking about it, it was like COVID had happened and everything, and I feel like I've done a lot of stuff where I've been very experimental, been able to be super creative and stuff, and I also wanted to focus on something that was maybe more listenable, like you could sit down and listen or you could play it out. And a lot of the idea for this album I was trying to do is connect everybody again because of everything that happened in the world, kind of get everyone to dance together and get everyone to kind of be together. So the elements that we put in, I think, reflect that, and also the lyrics kind of reflect that. They are repetitive, they're more understandable, so that everyone can kind of get this thing stuck in their head and like repeat in them. So that was kind of the idea with that. And then Reese Boulder came in, and it was amazing, and we had given them some of the stuff we worked on, and then we just kind of went from there. Well, the album is called R.O.T.T, R-O.T.T, but that stands for Road of Thousand Tears in My Skin. So the idea of the whole album is my journey, my life, and it's kind of a play in my skin, is a play on, look, now I'm finally comfortable in my skin, I know who I am. But it's also a play on, I am stuck, I am trapped in my skin. I can't get out, I've taken too much, this is like feeling claustrophobic. So let's begin the song in itself is, yes, directed, basically a lot of it are towards certain people and certain aspects that happen in life, but also society as well, telling us to be a certain way, you have to act a certain way, look a certain way, and me kind of fighting back with that, saying, no, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do, but still also feeling stuck and trapped, and also feeling like it doesn't matter, it's still affecting you, and you can't go anymore. Like, this is just it. I can't take any more of anyone's abuse, anyone's pain, any of this stuff. Like, I'm the one who walks in my skin, so get away from me. This is my body. This is what I do. So it's kind of trying to retake and have some control of how, I guess, in life that is. Yeah, I have moved a lot. I moved a lot as a kid too, and then since I've been like 18, 19, I've lived pretty much, New York, Florida, Atlanta, all these places, Berlin, LA, and now I find myself in Sacramento. Sacramento does have a scene. It's a smaller one because it is a smaller city, but so far since I've been here, I've met a lot of people in it, and the community is really welcoming and nice. So it's fun to be involved in it. For me, I'm kind of ready to be in a little bit smaller of a place because I've moved and lived everywhere, and also because I tour a lot and I get to travel a lot, I kind of want somewhere that's more peaceful, because I technically don't even live in Sacramento. I live a little bit outside of it, so I live more in nature. One of our friends here has pretty much a farm. She's got sheep, goats. Yeah, she's a vet, so she's got a whole bunch to rescue animals, so I help with that a lot. So yeah, there's huge parks and things, and I hike with the dogs. self-esteem, just feeling who I was, accepting who I was as an artist, and just feeling, respected for that. And then I come back to the U.S., and a lot of the stress starts happening again, where I still feel like I'm not good enough. Like, I need to be hustling 24/7, doing 10 different projects, making more money. People are like, so what do you really do, type of thing. Um, so that, and it, I think that's the general public of art in the U.S., unfortunately. But also for me, I know I've been able to connect to people that still love music, that are trying to make a difference, and we're all trying to work together for it, for art and music in the U.S. But yeah, in general, the United States, I don't know if it's because of capitalism or what, but they don't respect art as being a real type job. It's always such a hard question because you're like, well, there's different aspects when you perform. Did I like the venue?
Yeah.
Was it the best sound? Was it the people that worked there? Was it the crowd? Was it the energy? Was it just the location? Did we sell that much merch there? So there's all just different aspects. So I can honestly say I don't have a favorite show, really, because they all have some kind of aspects of my heart. There's certain ones that kind of stick out where we played Leria in Portugal. It's like, oh, we're playing in a castle and seeing this beautiful view. So that was incredible. Festival's always nice because then you get to meet a whole bunch of different bigger artists. So that's really where we played Ambra. That was really cool. And I'm really excited about the upcoming tour because we're playing lots of festivals. So you get to meet a lot of different artists. And it's quite nice too because it can be really stressful to worry about if you're going to be able to bring in the crowd. Sure. Everyone's looking at you, expecting that, you're trying to do your best. So festivals can help give you a little bit, a sense of ease maybe, that it's not all dependent on you, and hoping that new people discover you, and then some of our people discover another band. But I also really love playing small towns in the U.S. Because people don't tend to go to them as much, so they tend to be really excited that you're there. So it'll be interesting because we've been playing in the U.S. a lot lately, and each time I tour, different places are the ones that just are like, wow, it was more busy and popular here last time, and now this time. I don't know if it's that we needed to speak up now. I'm hoping it's just the fact that more and more females are feeling more empowered. We're giving a little more attention. We're actually able to do this. For America, I know it's really important right now because it seems like we're kind of going into, sadly, a backlash, and females' rights are getting taken away. So it's more important than ever to stand up and say those things, and to express and tell people in society like what we've been through, and for us females to come together. So I'm just excited. I've made a lot of friendships and contacts with other strong females as well all over the world, and us uniting in that. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it just continues that we don't even have to think about females are involved in everything. Because I know when I first started, it was very rare, and it was a hard area to figure out where we were going to play. And a lot of times they put us in noise shows, and yeah, I was the only female there. I was treated not that respectfully. I was kind of more of a joke, and people would kind of mock me. And then when I go up to perform afterwards, they'd be like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, that get away? And not getting respect from the sound person, you know, not listening to you, like, oh, whatever. But I've seen a lot of that change. Of course, it's not perfect, but hopefully it's getting better. You know, I was just saying that recently because I just DJ'd, and I was like, whoa, wow, you guys know who I am, and you respect my taste, and all these kind of things in the comments. So I feel like I'm getting heard more and more and understood more and more. I get messages sometimes daily that mean amazing things, like not because I'm trying to reach female people to, like, you don't have to follow society's norms, you can do what you want, you know, be comfortable with who you are, have that power. But I actually am just trying to reach everybody, because I don't really believe in society's gender norms, so everybody, because men receive horrible pressure as well. And I just received a great message from somebody talking about that too, and just being like, I'm not afraid to say I listen to your music, you know, because I have emotions and feelings, and I'm like, yes, that's the thing, is for us to all recognize this. And it is funny because some of my bandmates now, I can be a little guarded because I do have some past traumas of things that people would say to me and comment, and they've looked at me and I was like, yeah, you have no idea what people used to say and do. Yeah. But I do feel that I felt I had to be more like forceful and fighting a lot more in the past, whereas I don't feel that as much anymore, which probably reflects some of my music as well. I'm ready to be more vulnerable. Yeah, that's a good question, because yeah, once again, it is always going to be left to, because everyone's going to perceive something different, and in some ways that is why I leave my lyrics more like poetry and kind of open, because I want people to connect with their level and take from it what they want. But at the same time, it can be hard, because if it's not specific, people can take it and take it in another way. So I do also watch that with my imagery, and this is my personal choice. I always want to make sure that, you know, women and everybody is not in some kind of like sexualized, abusive type imagery in any way or connected. I really try to make everything in the form of being empowered. But at the same time, I also find people that like do other kind of stuff that they're, you know, comfortable with their bodies and community, like go for it, you know, like if that's how you feel and that's what you're doing. But I just hope that a lot of, because sometimes that stuff falls into and people will do it because it's kind of trending. So there are aspects of that. But I think that's always been throughout time with everything. People can kind of do that. So I can speak for me that I really hope that it's the imagery and the stuff that I use. I don't try to do like appropriation. I try to have everything, and I hope it comes across. Yeah, that's a good question too. For me, Heartless was one of the videos where it was kind of like first where I was kind of breaking out more into my own. And it is basically talking, it's metaphorical, like, you know, I had been going through a lot in a large depression where I had been really quite numb. This was actually like right when my divorce started happening. So it deals with that. It was also a really great time for me because I used to be a dancer, so I got to work with dancers and choreography. I also have a history of being hospitalized. So that also, they were like, when I was doing it, oh my gosh, you just like, I'm like, yeah, no, this is also probably kind of happened to me. Yes, it has. So that's something I'm developing now that I usually don't talk about very much. So then yeah, for me, Fast Murmur was more about being inside your mind and the beauty of being born, that all these things can happen and can grow and you can be within nature, but then at the same time in all the world and everything that happens to us at the same time stunts a lot of that too. For the bleed, we tried to do it more as, actually the director kind of came up with the idea and did it more like a little horror movie. So it was, yeah, like he was, that's why I had the supposed to be all like just different visions of like, and finding out that he's, you know, killing women and hiding them. So it's kind of theatrical on the take of that, but it's also just another take on the fact of like women being held down. So they all kind of fall into the same, I guess, like aspect. You know, honestly, I don't know. I hope Mark has, and I hope they approve. Yeah, yeah. It's always hard with covers because I don't know. I did like I don't do it on purpose, but I hear something, and that's usually how I roll with it. And other people are like, oh, that's something I have to cover. I was like, you're right. I don't know. Or the original, I'm like, I don't know. It's just what I heard, and just went with it. Well, definitely, for sure. Like, I have an art history degree. I love film. I love fashion. I love all of that. My thing with me that's really, I don't know if it's good or bad thing. I can't remember names. I can't remember details. And then being like, oh, I know this. Everything just, and I think that everyone's like, how do you create something? I was like, I don't know. I think it's just everything I've seen, heard, it just kind of comes through me and then kind of comes out. So a lot of times I don't have very specific where I'm like, okay, this is going to be like Lynch, or this is going to be like, I'll kind of just speak in terms of essence and feelings and stuff. And the producer I work with, Grant Showers, a lot, he knows my terms, but he's very good at like the details of stuff. So when we need details, he does that. But yeah, definitely, like just in the one that I did, Road of 1,000 Tears, that video, I really wanted it to be kind of the feeling of a black and white movie, kind of have that essence of it, like an older film, and kind of like a trail, and just very surrealistic, where you just didn't know exactly what time or place things were happening. Is this the past? Is this now? Why is she holding a phone with a cord that's not plugged in anything? It has a ladder that's going to nowhere. So definitely film, you know, photography is a huge thing I look at. When I'm scrolling for myself, I'm always just looking at fashion and art, and that's just, I love imagery. My parents actually, yes, of course, recently they've been really one of my big supporters and been super amazing. But yeah, growing up, my dad, we watched horror films together. He loved it. Like Halloween was the best. I remember one year he built a coffin and dressed up as Dracula. So we've always had amazing times with that kind of stuff. And yeah, like death has been something that been an open subject in my family growing up our whole life, working, in the morgue and working in hospitals and stuff, and just, things that have happened in our life. It's not a taboo subject. It happens. The emotions, the elements of it. And my dad's always thought it was cool, like we were talking about when I was younger, and me and my friends would always dress, goth and call him, wear all black and do whatever we did. And, my mom kind of being like, no, not really, my dad's like, no, man, you and your friends look cool. So, yeah, they've always liked it. Even now, when my mom is one of my favorite people to go shopping with, the pieces I found, she's just like, this is you. My dad loves music as well. Obviously not exactly the same. He doesn't completely get it. But, which I found that he's played it at the hospital a few times and be like, do you guys understand this? I was like, oh no, Dad, why are you doing that? But yeah, I mean, they'll come to the performances and shows and, they just are happy that I found who I am or telling my story, I guess. It's so funny because looking back, it was just a name we liked. It actually comes from the first band before Bestial was African Grave, and one of our songs called 444 was a line in it was Bestial mouth singing to drag in the winter. And when we were coming up with names, I was just like, oh, I really love this phrase, and it's really great, like the meaning of it, animalistic, mouths is a new, or singing, promoting, you have something to say, and that was just it. So there's not really too much more to it. I think Tina Turner quite a bit, Private Dancer. That one will just pop in my head all the time, and I'm just like, I'm your private dancer. Yeah. And I am one who makes up little song tunes for my dogs all the time. So. We definitely want to get to London. It's always kind of been a wish, and lately, yeah, we've been getting more and more people writing about coming to London. So we're working on it. I don't know. We're going back to Europe in May to do a tour. But yeah, we'll have to work on trying to get there. I think it's a little bit harder with the visas now. We have to look and see if we can figure it out. But yeah, hopefully so. Anybody who wants to keep writing and letting people know about us in London,